Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my day one preview for the Galway Festival, one of my favourite weeks in racing. I'm going to be doing a preview every day for Galway, going through every single race, giving a tip in all of those races, and also this week as well we'll be chipping in with Glorious Goodwood previews, and again like the Galway previews we'll be going through every single race and also as well giving a tip for all of the races. It's pretty much my favourite week, I would say, in racing. I love having the festival over in Ireland with a bit of flat and jumps action. I still haven't been to Ireland yet for racing, but it's definitely on the bucket list, and something I'd like to attend is the Galway Festival. But also as well, I love Glorious Goodwood, very close to me. I'd actually say that's probably my favourite racecourse in the world. It's a beautiful racecourse, got lovely scenery, you always get a good meet in there, you never get a poor quality card, there's always something good on show, and I've been fortunate enough the last few years to attend Glorious Goodwood, working for BBC local radio. Unfortunately I'm not going this year because I believe they're not doing anything, so that is a shame there that I'm not going back there. But I've also as well, when I haven't been working, been able to attend as a visitor, and I just absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite things throughout the year, Glorious Goodwood, and it's a shame I'm not going to be there. But yeah, I'm looking forward still to watching it on the telly. We're going to have some good action this week, and like I said, on Galway and Glorious Goodwood we'll be given selections for each and every single race, and hopefully we can have a good week. But before we get into those tips for day one of the Galway Festival, I just want to apologise for not making a video on today's racing. I just didn't have the time to do one, so apologies for that. And also as well, I'll just quickly recap on our selections for Saturday. In the end, it wasn't our finest hour, and we did come out with a small loss. Now our only success really, or any profitable tip, was Cliffs of Capri in the competitive handicap at Ascot behind Blue Mist. He ran a really respectable race, got the 12-1 each way, so we got the place money back there, made a nice little bit of profit on that. It always was a solid candidate to run a good race, loves the track, but in the end he just bumped into Blue Mist, who'd been a cliff horse for a lot of people, always been made favourite for these big handicaps in recent in his most recent starts, you know, and he'd been coming a little bit frustrating, but he got the breaks and he was able to ride his luck, and he was a nice winner in the end for Roger Charlton and Ryan Moore. So yeah, it was a bit frustrating just to bump into Blue Mist there, but again, Cliffs of Capri still ran a good race. Now I know some people were saying, oh, like for my King George selection, yes, I did put up Sovereign, what an idiot, you know, but to be honest, I wasn't the only one, but a few people did have their doubts about Enable. I still had question marks over her, even though she ran okay. I thought at Sandown, I didn't think it was brilliant, but I think she definitely needed to put in a performance like that at Ascot to show that she's still the top of the table, you know, in the mid divisions. She put in a terrific performance. Enable, you know, I thought Sovereign, to be fair, ran a solid race, in the fact that he went a good on his pace, and in the end Enable just had too much class for them. And in the end, yeah, just one easy as you like. Now, would I like to be jumping into her for the Arc to go and win it? I still think we need to know a little bit more first about what the opposition's going to be on the day. Is Gareth going to be there in one piece? Is he going to still be unbeaten this year with obviously his 2 impressive wins so far in the English domestic season? Is he going to win the Juddmonte? So I like to see him still putting another good performance at York to show that he's still at the top of his game. We've also as well got to know about the 3-year-olds. They're going to be any horses that we think might be able to match her. We're still a little bit unknown, especially on the colts. You know, we still really don't know who is the top 3-year-old colt, you know, and there could be Stradivarius coming into the race. There's been quotes even from John Gosden himself saying that he wouldn't hold anything against him if he did turn up in the Arc. We could have Logician come out still, so there's still some good horses that still might be able to tackle Enable, but I think she will go close if she gets there all in one piece on the day, and I think she does set the benchmark. So yeah, it's great to see Enable back with a good performance. I thought Sovereign could definitely maybe benefit going slightly further up in trip. Maybe the Irish St. Leger could be a good target target for him. He was actually staying on again after he'd been passed by an Able, showing that probably maybe 1.6 2 miles could be his optimum. Japan, really hard really to forgive him that run unless anything came to light, but not from what I've seen. I don't know if he didn't stay or who knows, you know. It just he was a horse that I've never particularly warmed to, but yeah, I can see why people maybe were attracted to him. But you would have thought if he was going to be spot on, that would have been his derby for the year anyway. So yeah, it was disappointing that we didn't see more from Japan, but Able was a very good winner, and look forward to seeing what she does next and where she goes. Elsewhere, Indie Angel was very disappointing, finished in 3rd place. Again, not sure really there was much to forgive. And then the Nap, I do think you can forgive that in the fact that I don't think Kevin Stott gave it his finest ride. I don't know why he put her out to the front straight away at Doncaster. As soon as he broke and she went to the front, I knew it was game over. You know, it's always hard at Doncaster to make all from the front, and that wasn't her running style. The way she came into the race at Pontefract, she was delivered late on. Yes, she might have been a little bit unlucky, you know, and got a wide passage, but still, I think she needed to be held up and be delivered off a strong pace. And I think maybe if Kevin started maybe try and use those tactics, she might have been at least fighting out for a place. She might not have won, but you know, we would have got more of a run for our money. So yeah, disappointed that Kevin Stott decided to make the run in there. And I'd be interested to maybe see where she goes next time. Keep an eye on her. Might not tip her necessarily, but I'd definitely see how she goes, because I think she's better than her mark, and she didn't give her running that day. But yeah, enough of me waffling on how Saturday's tips went. We'll get straight into the business end of things now with the Galway tips, and we're going to be starting tomorrow in the 410, the first race. And to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I do fancy quite a few horses that are prominent in the betting tomorrow to go close in the early races, so these aren't going to be the most original selections. But in the 410, I thought it was really hard to look elsewhere apart from Wembley. I know Joe Lyons might have a chance with his runner, and Mikey O'Callaghan as well, but I just thought Wembley, this was now or never for him. I think he's got a good chance tomorrow for Wayne Lorden and Aidan O'Brien. You can back him at 6 to 5. I think he could be a good solid opening bet to get us an early winner on the board. He's already shown some good level of form, 3rd and 2nd at the Curran 2 starts. The form isn't too bad from there. O'Brien as well, Aidan O'Brien likes to target this race. He's won it 3 times in the last 10 years, so that's a good thing there. Look at the horse's pedigree as well. Got a lovely pedigree, full brother to Group 1 winner Johannes Vermeer, and he's got a good draw to attack tomorrow as well, and still 4. You don't want to be drawn too wide at Galway. It's always very difficult. If you're not familiar with Galway, it's quite a tight twisting track. It's not quite like Chester, but the other way around, but it is quite sharp. It's a track that they always feel like they're still always on the turn. So if you can get a good draw towards the inside and make the most of it, it can be definitely an advantage. And Wembley's got that tomorrow, so at 6 to 5. I know he's not the most original selection, but I think could be very hard to beat, and that's why he is going to be my first tip of the Galway Festival. We then go to the 440 with a horse called Kokura, the Benker and Claiming 3, and Johnny Murter. Johnny Murter's stable been in flying form since the resumption of racing, and they've been maintaining it in the last couple of weeks. They're operating at 23% strike rate in the last fortnight, and this horse, he's currently priced up at 4 to 1. I think he represents a good little bit of value there. Now, the last time we saw this horse, he finished 4th in a race at Naas, which actually, to be fair, wasn't a bad effort considering he was quite prominent in the race that day, but just weakened out of things, losing to the Star of Cashel, who actually came into that race in really good form. So that wasn't a bad level, but I just think that this track at Galway might suit the horse better, and I just think with the yard going well and this horse still maybe having a little bit more to give, coming in here in good form in what looked a trappy race, got a good draw as well, I should have said. So if he can get a nice position early on, I think this horse could be quite difficult to pass. So for me at 4 to 1, I think it's the most solid candidate in the second race. We then go with my next best. So this is my next best for the Galway meeting. I should have mentioned as well the other 2 tips, they're going to be categorised and loaded as extra, so that's where they'll be going for the profit and loss. But yeah, my next best tomorrow runs in the 5:15 Royal Canford for Billy Lee and Willie McCreary. Now this horse, you can currently back it at 7-1 with bookmakers at the moment. Going to recommend an each way bet here. You can get 4 places. Now I thought the run at Leopardstown was really encouraging, and the form has already been boosted because Big Baby Bull, who used to be with Richard Hannon, I remember when he was over here, went and won and raced next time out. So the form has already been boosted. That was a good level. And I think, to be honest with you, this horse has got a good chance in this race. Look, if you look at it last year, it actually finished second at Galway at the festival, and I think it's got a chance. Won at the Kokura as well last year on soft ground, and there's going to be plenty of rain around tomorrow, so you're going to be wanting horses that can handle a bit of ease in the ground. I just think Royal Canford tomorrow's got a good chance in what I thought actually wasn't the strongest of race and lacked a little bit of depth in my opinion, but this Royal Canford as well has got a good draw and still won tomorrow, and if again can get in a good prominent position at 7-1, I think that represents quite a good bit of value, and that's why it's going to be my next best. We then go to the 5:45, and this is going to be my nap time here with a horse called Atlas for Joey Sheridan, claim and handy £7, and Dennis Hogan is the trainer of this horse. Now Joey Sheridan, he's one of the most informed apprentice jockeys at the moment. He's definitely worth a £7 claim, and this horse was a good winner when capitalising on a reduced handicap mark at Leopardstown last time out, but the handicapper has raised the horse at £6 for that effort, but I still think this horse has a little bit more scope to come. If you go back through its form last year, it actually finished 5th at the Galway Festival behind stablemate Make a Challenge, who's a group winner now, and has been running really well, and that was off a £1 higher mark, so you could argue that this horse has a little bit more to give, and with the £7 as well being taken off the horse's back by Joey Sheridan, that pretty much in effect means it's running off a £7 or no £8 lower mark than it did last year. So I think there's a lot to like about this horse tomorrow. You can currently back it at 7-2 with bookmakers at the moment. Again, a nice position in stall 3 to get a good prominent position. I think if it can do that, it could be the one that they've all got to beat. I'm really quite sweet in its chances tomorrow to get another win, and for me, I think that's a good bet there. So that's going to be my selection in the 5:50. In the 5:45 at Galway. We then go to the 6:15 with a horse called Centroid for Gavin Ryan, again another promising apprentice jockey in Ireland, claiming 5, and Dermot Weld, one of the powerhouses of Irish racing on the flat. Now this horse is actually, believe it or not, a half brother to Enable, and showed some promise at 2, but then missed the whole of 2019 and has since then returned to the track in 2020 and clearly needed the run when well beaten on its seasonal reappearance, but then last time showed a bit more of ability when finishing 4th at Leopardstown. Now I actually think this race at Galway tomorrow is slightly weaker compared to that race at Leopardstown. You can currently back this horse at 5-1. I'm just going to recommend a win-only bet. So I think this horse has got a good chance and still got a lot more to give, still unexposed. Actually is by Dan Silly as well, so it's got a lovely Juddmonte pedigree. Again, still one. You're going to be wanting horses tomorrow that are going to be having these good draws, maybe over the really longer trips, probably maybe a mile and a mile and a half, 2 miles. It's not maybe necessarily an issue, but still, nonetheless, you know, if you're going to be drawn towards the inside over the longer trips, you're still going to get in a good position, especially if it's a big field. So it does really count for a lot. It's kind of like Chester. You always want a good draw. You don't want to be out in the car park if you're not too familiar with Galway. You know, you want to be towards the inside you can, and just I think this horse tomorrow can definitely still go quite well. And for me, Centroid at 5-1, I think it's got a good chance, and that's why I'm putting it up as my tip in the 6:15. We then go to my long shot now with a horse called Mr. Blue Sky for Willie Mullins, and a jockey that I'm not familiar with. She's called MJ Horsman, claiming £7. Now, for some people, backing a jockey that they've never heard of is always maybe a negative, but I don't really care, because the fact that she's going to be claiming, you know, and if Willie Mullins has put her in there up as well, she must be half competent, you know, to go well. But this Mr. Blue Sky, I'm taking the horse here on form. Now, I think you can forgive it at Fairy House when it was out the back off the mark of 84 on its first run of the flat season, and Jamie Heffernan was put that day, and it was 7-1 in the market, and what was actually quite a competitive race. So Connections clearly thought they had a good chance of going well, or the market at least thought it did so anyway. But this Mr. Blue Sky, he was out the back, and then when he did start to make a challenge, he was in a lot of traffic and he was hampered at one stage, and then in the end he did start closing under a hands and heels ride from Shamey Heffernan. But I think that this was just a pipe opener for a race like the Galway Festival, you know. And again, this horse is going to have a good draw in stall 2 tomorrow. And if you go back through some of its form, it's got some good form over hurdles for Willie Mullins, you know, and used to be over here actually with Sylvester Kirk on the flat and showed form with a bit of juice in the ground. So there's going to be a lot in this horse's favour tomorrow. There's going to be a good draw. There's going to be a nice low racing weight as well, with the jockey claiming a nice £7. I think off a mark of 84, there's still scope for this mark, and the handicappers kept it off the same mark as well, so they must think that it didn't run too badly last time at Fairyhouse. And with the extra places on offer as well, this horse is currently at 28 to 1, and I think that's a good price. You can get the 6 places with Paddy Power. That's where the best price is, and the most places. So if you want those extra places, go there. 28 to 1, I think that's fair value. And I would be disappointed if this horse wasn't competitive tomorrow at a big price. So for me, this is going to be my long shot tomorrow, Mr. Blue Sky, 28 to 1 each way. I think it's got a good chance, and that's why I'm going with it there. We then go with my penultimate selection in the 7:15 with a horse called Yulong Pearlisand. Now this horse is trained by Shane Furley, and Jessica Harrington is the trainer of the... No, it's not trained by Shane Furley. It's going to be ridden by Shane Furley tomorrow, and Jessica Harrington is the trainer of this horse. Now you can currently get this horse at 11 to 2, and I'm going to recommend the Dirty Each Way bet here. Now this horse was a winner at Roscommon last time out. Now, it did have to fight quite hard for the win that day, and the handicappers raised it £3, and that was the first time it ever really encountered testing conditions, but it kind of suggested, I think, that it wanted those conditions, you know. And with the rain forecast tonight and into tomorrow as well, you know, the ground it could be quite attritional by the end of the day, you know. And the fact that this horse is already putting in a game attitude suggests that it could go quite well. Now also as well, another thing to factor in is that this horse again is going to have a good draw tomorrow, currently drawn in stall 6, and I think again that there's lots to like about its chances. The pedigree suggests as well that the ground should be fine, and it's going to have lots of stamina. Go back through some of the earlier form as well. This horse finished second behind Dawn Rising. Now Dawn Rising beat this horse well out of sight at the Curragh, but Dawn Rising, to be fair, ran a good race behind El Lassie of William Haggis's in the Group 3 Bahrain Trophy at the Newmarket July Festival, so that was still a fair effort. And again, I think this horse probably needs slower conditions to be seen at its best, and with the combination of Shane Foley and Jessica Harrington being one to follow in Irish racing this season, I just think that this horse has got a great chance of going very close. So I'm going to recommend the Dirty Each Way at 11 to 2, and fingers crossed we can get a winner there. We then end with my final selection in the 7:45, the last race of the day, with a horse called Ciel de Afrique for Jamie Codd, I should say, and Dermot Weld in the Moy-Glare colours. You know, you can currently back this horse at 10 to 3, and again, this horse has slowly been improving. By Sea the Stars, going to be making its 3rd career start tomorrow. Finished 4th on debut, 2nd last time out. It was a bit more like it. I think this horse has got a lot more improvement to come, and I think it's up to winning a race of this nature. Also as well gets a 3-year-old allowance as well, and that's going to be crucial against some of the likes of Mount Leicester and the Charles Burns runner 2 that are going to have to give away weight. I think Ciel de Afrique, he's an improving horse. Not a strong selection, but I think it's a win or bust selection for me. And I think at 10-3 that represents good value, and the fact that they booked Jamie Codd I think says a lot in a race of this nature. So yeah, they're going to be the tips on the opening day of the Galway Festival. You can check out all the selections in the description box below. If you didn't catch any of those or you've forgotten, just check out the link in, or not in the link, you'll just check out the description box below and you'll see a write-up of all the horses, the odds, and also as well how many places, if there are extra places as well, and what's the nap. And if you want to know my full profit and loss for July just check out the description box below. And also as well, let me know in the comments as well what you fancy tomorrow. What would be your nap at Galway? What do you fancy? Like reading your comments as well. So that's all I've got to say on that score. So if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button for more videos on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter as well, on social media, where my handle is at LuckyLoaders15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, check out my website, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. Please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners on the opening day of the Galway Festival, and we'll be seeing you soon.